Welcome to our next editions for Karista Live TV. And ang topic po natin is tax tips. Marami pong nag-neglect nito and it's costing them a lot of money. So we want you guys to avoid it. So before the show, let's watch this. Ayan. So maraming salamat po sa mga nanonood today. And I just wanted to mention, so ang ating guest speaker po ngayon, si Bert Parungao. So si Kuya Bert, since arriving in Canada in 1981, he has worked at a variety of companies. In 1995, he started his own company, All Year Tax and Business Services. Bert and his wife started PYK Investments that deals with various real estate transactions and other investments. O yan, real estate expert po si Kuya Bert. And speaking of real estate, just we wanted to let you know sa March 24 po, Thursday, 6:30 to 8:30, we have a real estate investing webinar free po para sa mga Pilipino. That's happening on March 24 from 6:30 to 8:30. If you're interested, we're sending a link so you can register for that for free. Marami na po kaming investors na natulungan and Kuya Bert has seen that presentation and he enjoys it. And speaking of enjoying, we also had a presentation to his association, si Kuya Bert. He was the president of PICPA in Vancouver, the Philippine Institute of Certified Public Accountants between 2008 and 2010. Bert is an active community leader participating in various organizations such as Rotary Club Mountain View, United Filipino-Canadian Association, Philippine Historama, New Westminster Festival Society, and Multicultural Helping House Society. He also participates in various fundraising activities in Vancouver. So thank you po, Kuya Bert, for being our guest today.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon.
Thank you po. So Kuya Bert, bakit ka very interested to have this show? We talked about it a little bit before we get into your presentation. Bakit po importante yung show natin today?
Well, one of the things is kasi we want to educate the people, especially those people who are involved in real estate or they have your own small business, medium business, or kasi very important. All the things we do, meron tayong obligation which is filing our tax returns. And if you file your tax return on time and precisely, tsaka ganyan, you save lots of money actually from interest and penalties and also from stress.
Tama. So we're going to save a lot of money, a lot of stress. So stay tuned, everyone. This show is for you. Very dedicated po talaga. Very passionate po si Kuya Bert to educate you all. So let's go to Kuya Bert's presentation today.
Okay, this is the first one. What do you need to know for the 2021 tax filing season? Number one is always plan ahead. Pag sinabing plan ahead, you have to make sure all your receipts and is all in order. Do not avoid last minute rush. Kasi that is the one that will give you stress. Number two, update your personal information. Yung mga nagpalit ng mga, let's say, marital status or whatever, or you have a new kid for that year, all those things have to be updated when you file your 2021 tax return. Report your income. When I say report your income, all your income from all sources. Rental income, of course, minus all your deductions on rental income. So you will either have a rental loss or rental income. Claim deduction, credit, and expenses. These deductions and credit and expenses are very important because these items will reduce your tax liability. Then determine if you have refund or owing. So if you are owing money, you can plan where you're gonna get the money. Go digital. Use tax preparation programs for efficiency. And also, if you are not registered yet with my account on the go to the CRA website and join the my account. The advantage is if you have a my account, you can easily get all the information that you have. You are connected to CRA through my account. And then file your tax on time to avoid penalty and interest.
Ayan. Kuya Bert, sasabihin mo ba sa kanila yung kanilang deadline? Is that part of your
Yeah, it will be
presentation?
the thing.
Okay.
Next slide, please. Yeah. So this is it.
Ayan.
The due dates and payment dates. These are very important, especially Marso na and it's getting there. So February 21, we already started transmitting some tax returns. So at this point, you can now go to your tax preparer and they can transmit your tax return. March 1, it's been passed, but that was the deadline to contribute for your RRSP. May 2 is the deadline to file your taxes. Why May 2? Because April 30 is a Saturday.
I see.
And May 1 is Sunday, so May 2. For those, yung mga people na self-employed, June 15 is your deadline. Okay? And the payment due date to pay your taxes is also May 2nd. Otherwise, if you don't pay, then meron ng interest yun. Late filing penalty still applies. So the late filing penalty is 5% of your 2021 balance owing if you did not file it on time.
Oh.
Okay? Plus, of course, you're gonna get interest. If CRA charge you late filing penalty for not filing your 2018, 2019, or 2020, right? The late filing penalty will now be 10%.
Woo.
Yeah, meaning if you owe 2018 and 2019, you owe another 2,000, another 2,000 in 2020, that will be 10% of 6,000. Just for the penalty, plus interest. All right, next.
Watch out. Don't do that, people.
Okay, other tax information na mahalaga. If you sell a principal residence in 2021, you have to fill up this form.
Oh.
That is in the first page of your tax return. So if you sell your principal residence, you have to tell your tax preparer. Mahalaga yan. And another important thing dito, mga pinili ko lang ito na kung minsan kasi nakakalimutan ng iba, is the elected split pension amount. Pag in-split mo yung income ninyo sa isang taxpayer in the family, husband mo or wife, receiving a pension, except CPP and old age, you can split that and you save lots of money on that one. And then of course, yung home office deduction of 500, don't forget that sa mga nagtatrabaho sa bahay. Okay? If you claim $500, wala nang audit yun. It's called the temporary flat method.
Oh, so Kuya Bert, kahit hindi sila self-employed, ganun ba yun? Basta nag-work sila.
Basta nag-work at home ka pa rin because of COVID, di ba? Tuloy pa rin yun. It started last year, pero this is the continuation. And ito ang isa sa mga qualification noon, the employee work more than 50% of the time for a period of at least 4 consecutive weeks. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
meron din, pero I don't know how tough they are on that rule kasi $500 lang naman yun eh. Next please.
Kuya Bert, bago next, meron pong question from BC Pinoy. Lahat po kayong nanonood ngayon, kung meron po kayong question, just type it in and sasagutin po ni Kuya Bert. Question po, if I'm 65 years old and about to retire this year, may effect po ba when it comes to taxation? And magiging pension ko dito sa Canada and RSP withdrawal kung may income ako outside Canada from a business? Good question.
Yeah, depende kung gaano kalaki yung income mo coming outside of Canada, di ba? Kasi may threshold yan eh, especially the old age. Pag ang income mo ay 69,000, around that amount, and over, yung old age mo, kinu-clawback na yun eh. Nababawasan na yung pension mo sa ano. Ngayon, kung CPP, walang problema yun kasi actually that is your money that you contributed to the system. Di ba? Yun, maaano mo yun, walang problema yun. Except for the old age, pag mataas ang income mo, then apektado yung old age pension mo.
Wow, thank you, BC Pinoy.
Ngayon, the other requirement, if incurred significant expenses exceeding 500, the detailed method can be used. Kaya kung ayaw mo gamitin yung 500 because you feel that you spend more money, bumili ka ng computer na bago ngayon o yung mga internet, then you can do what you call detailed method. I-detail mo yon, you fill up a form 2202, imbis na 500, mga 1,000 or 800. But then you have to fill up the form 22 subject to audit yan pag hindi nila masyadong nagustuhan yung ginawa mo. And then of course, yung home buyers amount credit, yung mga bagong bili ng bahay noong 2021, do not forget that, yung home buyers amount. Kasi makakabawi ka rin ng $750 dyan, which is 15% of $5,000. Another important thing that you should check is the disability amount transferred from a dependent. Ito lagi kong inaano ito sinasabi ito dahil maraming mga taxpayer na merong disability yung mga parent, lalo na kung dependent na nila yung parent, hindi nila nagagamit yun. And they can go back 10 years back.
Wow.
Kukuha lang sila ng form sa yung disability credit na ipapipirma nila sa doktor, and the doctor will determine kung anong year nag-start yung disability. Tapos ibabalik mo yon up to 10 years. Maraming nakakabawi rito up to 15 to 20,000.
Wow, ang laki. Ang laki dito, marami nakaka-miss.
Yeah. Kaya nga nilagay ko to because baka may mga sila, maski hindi sa kanila, sa mga kaibigan nila na yung may disability na naging dependent na nila at hindi nila nagamit. You can still go. Yeah, and also kasi dito yung hindi nagamit nung dependent mo, ita-transfer sa'yo. Yeah, that is what it's about. Ganon din yung tuition amount transfer from a child, di ba? Yung anak mo, nagbayad ka ng tuition fee, and then yung iba kasi nakakalimutan na yung tuition fee ng anak, but they don't realize that any excess dun sa anak na hindi nagamit yung tuition fee, it can be transferred to you or your husband or your wife.
Okay. Kuya Bert, before we go to the next point, meron question from Ira. Ira Valencia, thank you so much for your question. Home buyers amount credit. Kung binenta po yung old house to buy new, kasama po ba ito?
Yung home buyers amount credit para sa first time home buyer lang yun.
Yeah.
So if you already used it nung bumili ka ng unang principal residence mo, yeah. But if it's your first principal residence, pwede mong gamitin.
Yes, that's a very good point. Okay, I love the questions. Yeah, go ahead, Kuya Bert.
The medical expenses, ipunin nyo lahat yung medical expenses niyo, then baka mamaya may value kasi yun yung medical expenses, lalo na kung malalaki yung mga dentist ng mga bata, yung mga eyeglasses and so forth.
Oh, pagka hindi niyo na-claim sa inyong sa inyong dental or extended health, pwede mo siyang ma-claim. And then, Kuya Bert, we have another question from Glenn Fontanilla. Hi, Glenn. Thank you so much for your question and for being here. Question po, do we need to be living in for a year in a common law status. We purchased a property November 4 closing date. And my question is, do we declare common law relationship in the tax December 31, 2021? Or do we need at least 1 year to be considered? Good question.
Yeah, common law relationship, depende yan kung ilan years kayong nagkasama, di ba? Even if you buy, let's say I'm living common law with someone for a year or two, and then we decided to buy a house, right? Then we are in a common law relationship. Kasi sabi niya, November 4 closing date, depende kung how many years sila nagsasama before they buy the property. But that is a good question kasi alam mo naman ngayon, we don't know what's gonna happen, right? Sa estate settlement kung minsan nagkakaroon ng problema yan. Because we don't know when hindi naman natin alam kung anong mangyayari if something fatal happen, or in my case, if I pass away after I buy a house and I am in a common law relationship, then the estate will have to deal with that one.
Okay. And then we have another question po from Mark. Hi, Mark! Nice to see you here. Paano ang pag-file ng income tax ng isang rental property kung merong 3 owners na magkakapatid? Salamat po. Thanks, Mark.
Depending on kung may income o loss, ang lahat ng siblings nagpa-file na ng income tax, pwede nilang i-divide yung loss o your income. I-report lang nila sa tax return nila under rental income, and if it's a loss, it will be a loss. Yeah, 3 owners.
There you go. And also, Mark, one good practice that I teach is it would be a great idea to open an account. The 3 of you, 1 bank account, and then lahat ng gastos dun sa property can just go through there. And then at the end of the year, you can just print that statement, and then you all can send it to your accountant para lahat dumadaloy doon. So it would be nice kung doon manggagaling yung property tax, yung mortgage payment, and all of that para hindi nakakalito. So some people, halimbawa, bumili ng property, 3 sila, and they choose one per account mo na lang kukunin yung mortgage payment, and doon na lang papasok yung renta. Then it's so hard na i-identify sa accountant. But if you just have this one account and lahat doon pumapasok, napakadali. Di ba, Kuya Bert? Napakadali.
Yeah, that is probably the most efficient, tsaka most organized. Kaya nga kasi once you have a rental property with other 3 people, this is already a business.
Good point.
You know exactly what it means. There's money flowing and flowing out. Diyan na nag-aaway kasi yung mga tao. It's true. I've experienced it and I've seen it. Thanks God. Normally, we can fix that. But again, if you're organized at saka efficiency, tama si Bernadette, lahat ng income doon ang pasok sa bank account, lahat ng expenses doon. Pag kinulang, contribute kayo ng tigwa $100, ipapasok din doon. Kung sumobra at the end of the year, mayroon kayong extra 3,000 doon, tigwa 1,000 kayo ng withdrawal.
It's so nice, may transparency, kitang-kita nyo lahat. So,
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, thank you po. Thank you, Mark.
Next, yeah. Ngayon, donation, first $200 na donation mo, 15% ng credit. Pero the remaining, 29%. Malaki rin, and you can carry forward that 5 years. Political contribution, pag nag-contribute kayo sa mga political parties dito sa Canada, 75% of the first $400 mababawi mo. So it's not bad if you are a politically inclined person, you donate and you get this back. And then maximum credit is $650. So basically, if you contribute $1,275, you get $650 back. And then the Canada Training Credit, mahalaga rin yan. It's a refundable tax credit available to help Canadians with the cost of eligible training. Okay, next page. Yan. Ang ibig sabihin niyan, every year, meron tayong nakukuha $250, people below 60 years old. Hindi na ako kasali ron. $250, makikita nyo sa notice of assessment ninyo na merong isang area ron na about that credit. Ang ibig sabihin niyan, 250, pag naipon yan, in 3 years, meron ka 750 and then you enrolled in a institution, bibigyan ka ng credit na 750. See? And then you can deduct your tuition fee also. So, it's not bad.
Okay. Well,
Yan
thanks,
yung
Kuya Bert.
Canada Training Credit yan.
Ayan. We just have a question here. Thank you po. Lena, Ate Lena, hello. Thank you for being here. Question po, what are the expenses if we want to sell our townhouse? We only live less than 1 year.
Okay. I guess we have that presentation in the next 2 pages, I guess. So,
Okay.
yeah.
We can talk about that in the next one.
Yeah.
So hold on ka lang, Ate Lena, ha? We'll just go to the next question from Gilbert. Hi, Gilbert. Nice to see you here. Thank you. I've never claimed home buyer's amount credit before. I've bought and sold my principal property because I had to move due to work. Is it too late to take advantage of that credit?
No, you can submit a T1 adjustment whatever year that you bought your principal resident, and if you did not claim the $5,000 credit, $750 din yun. The government will give it back to you as long as you can prove na talagang pumili ka ng principal residence mo.
Woohoo! There you go. Bigla ka, just watching this show, you all of a sudden have $750. Yay!
Yeah.
Thank
All right.
you.
Ito na
Okay,
yung
next
tinatanong ni
slide.
Deduction for rental income. All right? Number 1, pag nag-advertise kayo ng sa newspaper or whatever, social media or whatever, kung magkano yung binayad nyo, then you can claim that one. The insurance of the property, interest and bank charges, ito ang malaki yung interest. Kung inutang natin yung pera, di ba, normally, malaking binabayaran ng interest, but that interest portion of your payment is deductible. Okay? Office expenses, kung kailangan mo ng mga stapler o whatever, bond paper for your printer, yeah, ink, yeah. Professional fee, or if you have to see a lawyer or an accountant to prepare your taxes, legal advice from a lawyer, you can deduct those. Of course, management and administration fee if you don't want to manage it and you hire somebody to manage your property. Yeah. Repairs and maintenance of the property. Kung meron kang minor repair or if you have to change something, o kaya nag-collapse yung appliances, then you buy a new one, you can claim all those. Salaries and wages, kung malaki ka, if you have three properties or 5 properties and you might want to hire somebody that you're going to pay every month, that's what it is. Property taxes, this is coming from the property assessment office, kung magkano yung babayaran taxes. Travel, meaning if you go around and you inspect your properties, this might not be much, but yeah, you can claim it. Or if your property is in Kelowna, right? You go there, or in Edmonton, meron kang property doon, you went to visit it, you talk to the tenants and everything, you can claim that. Utilities, yeah. Kung hindi sila nagbabayad at ikaw nagbabayad, then you can claim it. Then, of course, the motor vehicle expenses, mostly gasoline. You can, if you have lots of property and you go around twice a month or 3 times a month, then you can probably prorate it. And of course, the strata fees. Kung condominium yung pag-aari mo, you can claim the strata fees. Okay?
Ayan. Okay, so before we proceed there, just as a reminder, yung mga just tuning in, we have a real estate investing webinar po at Tagalog edition sa March 24. We're sending the link so how you can register for that. We've helped a lot of people, hundreds and hundreds of investors feel empowered. So they've registered, they've attended. Ngayon, ang dami naming investors nakakadalawa, tatlo, apat na property easily, effortlessly, and elegantly. This is free para po sa ating mga Pinoy. Okay po. Salamat po. Okay, Kuya Bert.
All right. And also, I'll give you some tax personal planning tips. There's lots of them, but, we will not have time. We will have to talk to. Okay. Maximize interest deduction by structuring borrowing first for investment and business. Mahalaga yan. Yeah. You have to look at your situation, and if you need to borrow something, iaano mo lang yun, i-structure mo lang ng maganda para hindi sabog-sabog. Kasi deductible din kasi yung mga interest nun. Okay? Interest incurred on borrowed money for business or certain investment that ceases to earn income may continue to be deductible. Okay? Then, sa mga taxpayer with children, consider making contribution to a registered savings plan. Kasi, pag naglagay ka ron ng 1,000, for example, every year, tatapatan ng government ng 20% yun, di ba? That is a good save. You cannot find a return like that.
That's fantastic. It's guaranteed return.
Yeah, this is guaranteed. At saka, pag hindi nagamit nung anak mo, pwede mo ipasa sa susunod na anak.
Yes, it's true. We did that.
You have to look at this. This is a 20% return. Kaya, o tsaka yung mga childcare expenses ninyo, huwag niyong kalilimutan yun. You can deduct 2/3 of earned income. Nung lower income na taxpayer. Doon papasok yung childcare expenses.
Ayan.
Yeah. Next one.
Before we go to the next slide, I'm just going to go back to Ate Lena. I hope we answered those questions. If it's a rental property, yun po yung mga expenses. But if it's owner-occupied po, ang expenses mo would be yung bayad po sa realtor, which is typically 7% of the first 100,000, and then 3.5%, 3 to 3.5% nung difference plus GST. So yun po. And then the other thing is yung wala kang babayarang capital gains if it's a principal residence. But yung bibilin mong property, magbabayad po kayo ng property transfer tax, which is 1% of the first 200,000 and 2% of the balance. So it's very important po that before you list it, talk to your mortgage strategy manager here at Karista so we can bini-breakdown po talaga namin kasi it's very important na clear sa'yo kung magkano yung matitira sa'yo after you've sold it kasi syempre yun ang magiging down payment mo para sa susunod na property. So hopefully nakatulong yun. So ang magiging gastos mo kung principal residence, to recap, is going to be the payment para sa realtor and then yung bayad sa property transfer tax. Of course, if you have to break the mortgage, there'll be a penalty. And then there's closing costs as well. Dito sa Karista, we have a sales proceeds calculator na makakatulong po sa breakdown for you. So thank you for that question. Okay, back to you, Kuya Bert.
Okay, yung RRSP contribution, 2021 annual contribution limit is 29,210. That means sumisweldo ka dapat ng 162 kung gusto mo mag-contribute ng ganyang kataas. Aside from those taxes na carry over mo in the past, RRSP na carry over in the past na hindi mo nagamit, makikita mo sa notice of assessment. You can contribute as high as that. I always tell people kung meron kang mga rental property, it's nice to have that RRSP accumulated kasi once trigger mo na yon, nagbenta ka, capital gains na yon, wala ka nang makikitang i-deduct doon except for that RRSP accumulated amount. Pwede mong gamitin yon. And you save lots of money. for sure. Ngayon, yung makukuha mong pagbebentahan, nilagay mo sa RRSP,
Yes.
madi-differ mo lang yung yung taxation, no? But if you are at the right age from RRSP, you move it to RIF para every month kukunin mo na yung additional income mo ron at $1,000 to $1,500 a month hanggang maubos. Plus your
Good
CPA and
tips.
your old age pension.
Yeah, those are great tips.
Yeah. Or municipal pension. Yeah. Yeah, TFSA annual contribution limit is still 6,000 a year. Ngayon, pag hindi ka nagko-contribute, you can pwede kang ma-maximize mo na up to 7,500. Let's say you sell your property at nagkaroon ka ng maraming extra money, you can probably put 75,500 with the TFSA, tax-free yun eh. Instead of putting it to GIC, must well put it to TFSA. And then from there, you can talk to your financial planner kung saan nila pwedeng ilagay.
Ayan, so tinuruan kayo ni Kuya Bert, magandang investment ang RESP, merong kayong RRSP, meron kayong TFSA. So ayan yung mga magagandang paglagyan nyo ng inyong funds. Plus real estate, obviously.
These two are created for a reason. So, malalim na ng konti dahil you have to think why. Kasi nga kung minsan bata ka pa, hindi mo iniisip yun eh. Why will I contribute to this, di ba? But then as you get older, you will tell yourself, I wish I could have saved money there, RRSP or TFSA. Yeah. Doon mo marirealize.
Ayan. Speaking from the voice of wisdom.
Palakihin mo ng konti, Ambi. Oh.
Can we make it bigger? Can we zoom in on it? I'm not sure.
No, it's not it. Pero, yeah. This is the comparison of the 2020 marginal tax return. Pag sinabi natin marginal tax return, that is the combination of the federal tax and the BC tax. Kaya pag ang income mo is 42,000, yung first line, other income means other income aside from capital gains and dividends. Yun ang other income. Mga GI interest or pay or yung payroll natin. Kaya yung pag ang income mo 42,000, 20%. Ngayon pag capital gains, kalahati lang, di ba? Dahil ang capital gains is only tax at 50%, di ba? Pero tignan mo yon, Canadian dividends. Pag dividends ang nakukuha mo, may utang pa sila sa'yo sa eligible dividends. Which means na may credit, dividend tax credit, kaya naging minus 960. Kaya kung yung dividend na kuha mo is non-eligible, 10.43% lang ang tax. So, from that analysis, makikita mo na, paminsan-minsan titignan nyo ito, makikita mo na kung magkano ang binabayad mo sa gobyerno. And this is where capital gains and dividends,
there's questions.
Diyan sa dalawang yan, diyan nag-i-invest talaga yung mga mahuhusay na investors. Because of the tax rate is too low. Okay? Yan lang yun. It's not easy to, it's very easy to understand. Pag tinignan nyo lang, sa una, medyo mahirap, but once you realize how easy it is, it's basically, comparison of tax rates against different income. Okay.
Ang maganda dyan, if you're working with a really great accountant like Kuya Bert, you don't have to worry about these things. Somebody else, they can figure it all out. Because tayong mga regular na mamamayan, that will be like, it sounds and looks too complicated for us, pero they can simplify it for you. And then before we go to the next one, Lena said, thanks Bernadette. Will the government tax us because we only live less than a year? Kuya Bert, that is the question. Pagka they live less than a year na home, matataksan ba sila ng government? I know the answer, but you're the tax
Yes.
expert.
Kasi maski yung patay, tinatax pa rin eh.
It's owner-occupied, Kuya Bert.
Oh, what does that mean? Will the government tax us because we
Principal
only live...
residence.
Oh, kala ko yung mga may sakit. Sorry. All right. Will the government tax us because we only live less than a year? Is this a rental or a personal residence?
I think it's personal residence because they lived in it
I
for
think
less than a
I don't
year.
think so. I never may nagtanong na rin sa akin niya ba I never encountered. Kasi nga bumili ka personal residence. Ngayon ang magiging issue dito yung credit, di ba? Yung are you gonna use your principal residence credit kung binenta mo yan bago mag-end yung year na yon, di ba? Let's say you bought it in February 2, binenta mo uli no November. Right? Yun lang ang alam ko magiging issue niyan if you're allowed to use that credit. Unless na yung binili mo uli is a principal residence. Yeah. It's a good
Ayan.
question though because I think he's the first 3 or 4 people who asked me this question in the last few weeks.
Maraming nagbenta agad within the year kasi kumita sila ng hundreds and hundreds of thousands.
Yeah. Nandun yung nandun yung magiging issue yon. Kaya nga ngayon, di ba, in the beginning, I told you, pag nagbenta ka ng principal residence, i-report mo na.
Yes.
Now, it's up to the government to see kung bakit ka nagbenta. Siguro may follow-up question yun sa'yo. Bakit ka nagbenta kagad? At tinatanong pa nga kung magkano mo binili at magkano mo. So basically, what is the purpose, di ba, ng government? I haven't seen any clients who sold their principal resident na nagkaroon ng audit. Sinubmit lang namin na binili nila nito, right? But we never heard. But again, that 1-year rule might be an interesting question.
Thank you, Kuya Bert. Okay, let's proceed to this beautiful form.
Yeah, this is how our tax return look like, ano? Alam niyo na yan, yung identification area, tapos pataas, social insurance. Ngayon, ang mahalaga rito yung sinasabi ko kanina na pag nagkaroon ng marital status change, di ba? You have to say, pag separated na kayo, separated. Right? Kung divorce, siyempre divorce. Pero yung separated, that is a very touchy issue. Yung iba kasi, nagmamahalan pa rin siguro yan. Nagkahiwalay lang ng sandali. But again, in the determination ng child credit, mahalaga yun. Kasi one of them will claim the kid. Di ba? Isa sa kanila,
I see.
naghiwalay
Opo.
sila, isa sa kanila ang mag-claim ng mga children. It can get complicated because I saw some cases na iwalay sila, claim nung isa, naghabol yung isa, dumiretsa sa CRA. Inaudit ng CRA yung isa, then pina-prorate yung binibigay sa bata or whatever they get as mga benefits. You don't wanna get into that. Pag ganyan rin lang, magkakaroon na ng konting separation or what, they have to settle it amicably. Talagang pag-uusapan niya because it costs lots of money. Lalo na kung pupunta pa kayo sa lawyer.
Right. Okay.
Very
good point pagdating doon.
Yeah. Okay, pataas pa ng konti, Abby. Yan, yung mga resident information nyo, yung mga, kung umalis kayo, umuwi sa Philippines na matagal, you have to fill that up too. Ngayon, keep going up, your spouse, common law partner information, yan, yung mga mahalaga yan. This part is, lang naman itong area na ito, yung mga information lang itong mga first 2 pages. And then, if you keep going on, Yan, may mga question nga, alam na ng mga ano yan. Kaya yan, sinasabi kong, yan, yung foreign property, yan, mahalaga rin yan kung meron kayong property na over $100,000 outside of Canada. Mag-yes or no ka dyan. Yeah, so. Alright, pataas pa. Then, ito yung mga income, marami yan na different classification of income natin. Yan. Ngayon, income minus all the expenses, pababa pa, sige. Keep going. Yan, yung business income, makikita nyo dyan, stop, yan. Tsaka yung rental income nandun sa taas, line 12608, dyan nilalagay yung rental income o rental loss. Yan. Ngayon, after that, you will, after income minus the deduction, darating ka sa net income. Yan. The net income, ngayon, pagdating mo ng net income, minus pang mga special deductions, mga carrying, mga, yan to, makikita nyo lahat yon. And then you're gonna reach with the net income before adjustment. Diba? Income minus expenses equals net income before adjustment, and then meron pa na naman mga ibang special deduction na pwede mong i-deduct until you hit yung yung taxable income, net income, and then meron pa ba sa ibaba pa? Keep going down. And then yung calculation na ng taxable income, doon na i-calculate yung income ninyo based on this table. Kaya taasan mo ng konti. Sa federal tax, makikita mo dyan. No? Yung table na pinakita ko kanina is similar to this. Kaya lang ito, itemized na ito. Kung ang income niya ay 49,000, 20.5. Hindi na mapapakita. But these are the rates. If you go back, those are the rates. Ngayon, pag nakuha na nila yung federal tax, yung tax mo, nababayaran mo, keep going down, they will give you what you call the federal non-refundable tax credit. Bakit non-refundable? Kasi kung mas malaki yung credit kaysa sa utang mo, hindi nila i-refund. Wala ka na nga lang babayaran. That's how it works. And then after that, keep going down. And then after that, may mga adjustment dyan na ilalagay kung businessman ka, i-charge ka nila ng mga you have to, if you're self-employed at may income ka malaki, you have to pay your own CPP, di ba?
Yes.
Time is too young because kung ang utang mo 800, magiging 1.6 kasi nga employer-employee contribution.
Okay.
Kuha nyo yun, And then from there, of course, all your donation, medical, they give you a credit, and then you end up with your total federal, sige, down pa. Then you're gonna end up with yung utang mo sa gobyerno kung wala ka ng adjustment. So that's how simple it is. Basically, kung titignan mo, that's how simple it is. Pero,
See, it's very simple sa kanya.
see that. But, and then once you have a refund, then pag na-transmit na yan, in 15 days, you get it. Kung may utang ka, then you wanna make sure you pay it May 2nd kasi mag-i-interest yun. Or, kailangan mag-file ka ng tax before May 2nd or they will charge you penalties. All right, so that is yung simple lang na to understand what it's all about. Now we can take more question and answer. So
Ayan. So, kung meron po kayong question, please make sure you type it in. And habang, also, kung wala kayong questions, it would be really, really nice. Yung mga nanonood ngayon, there's a lot of people watching right now. There's like so many, and I'm very grateful sa mga nanonood. We want to know, alin po yung best takeaway ninyo o ano yung biggest learning ninyo na nakatulong today? Ako po, marami. Mataas pala yung credit pag mas mataas yung charitable donation. I thought it's the same,
No.
Kuya Bert. So
first 215%, the rest is 29.
yes, so that's
it's
good.
Really, what they're saying is it's worth giving.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. You give
So, yun
$100, you get back $15, the rest 29. You give back at least $300 and $30 to $40. Yeah.
Ayan,
Mhm.
okay. So, and then we also put the link there para kay Kuya Bert. Kuya Bert, kung meron silang questions about taxes, they can reach out to you. So, yan po yung kanyang contact information, ang kanyang email, and
They
then
can
phone
email
number.
me and I'll give them an answer. Yeah.
Ayan. So again, kung merong any learnings ninyo, you type it in. If you don't have any questions, just type in yung biggest learning, biggest takeaway ninyo. Kasi po, bakit importante? Kasi po minsan yung na-learn ninyo, na-miss ng ibang tao, so nakatulong sa kanila na inulit nyo o nabanggit nyo o pinaalala ninyo because sometimes medyo distract kayo o meron kayong iniisip after what he said. So for example, if you sold the property, I didn't realize you have to file that now. So, importante po yun. Tapos yun nga, yung first-time home buyer tax credit, meron pa palang mga taong hindi alam yun.
Hindi nag-claim yet.
So, so sayang. Tapos yung work from home. I didn't know there's that now. So, again,
Sa COVID yun,
if
sa
you're not...
COVID.
Yeah, if you're not in a close relationship with your accountant, hindi mo mababanggit 'yon. Yung pala meron kang pwede mo palang magamit 'yon and other things. So yun yung mga bago kong natutunan na hindi ko alam. Tapos yung another thing yung disability. Marami palang nakaka-miss noon.
Disability,
And then a lot
marami.
of So it is like thousands and thousands of dollars. So yun yung mga narinig ko today na it was very fascinating and I think it's very helpful na marinig ng mga nanonood. Those information, I'm pretty sure if it's new for me, it's new for other people as well. Kaya I made sure I highlight those. So makasave kayo ng pera. So makasave kayo, kumita kayo, makagain kayo. So yun po. So hopefully nakatulong po yung mga bagay na yon. I don't see any other questions here from anyone. So before we end, it's just again a reminder po sa ating free real estate investing webinar po magaganap sa March 24. Dedicated po sa mga Pinoy, 6:30 to 8:30 webinar po yan. You can watch it from your phone, from your devices, and from the computer. Tagalog po siya. So mawi-witness po ninyo, meron din po tayong speaker na investor and he will share with you his journey. You can ask him all sorts of wonderful questions. Thank you po, Kuya Bert, for being here today. I learned a lot and thank you po sa dedication ninyo to educate of mga Pilipino. Just everybody knows, wala po kami bad kay Kuya Bert. He's doing this as a public service to help all of you. And wag po sana kayong magsasawa, Kuya Bert, na makatulong sa more and more Pinoys. And here's the link again for Kuya Bert. Thank you, Kuya Bert. Any last advice for people watching right now?
File your tax early. Early or on time. Kasi kaya nga, it will cost you money if kung may utang ka. At saka maganda rin kung meron kang refund, you get it early. Or some people, they intentionally ayaw nilang ipala sa oras kung may refund sila, alam nila. So, hinihintay nila in summer para daw may spending money. Which is, basta mag-file ka lang kung may utang ka sa oras. Kung wala kang utang, refund ka, walang problema yon.
Ayan. Okay. Well, there's a feedback, Kuya Bonnie. Thank you po for being here today. You're very welcome. I hope this is a great service for everyone. So, sa lahat po nanonood, maraming po salamat for joining us today. We enjoy serving you. We enjoy having this show for you. It's one of my highlights every month. So, tune in next month po. Sana magkita-kita po tayo ulit dito sa